Dandadan Season 2, Episode 8 is here, and we've got intense highs, mediocre lows, and plenty of unmet potential. From a heavy metal on classical music fight to a Beethoven bobblehead, and Turbo Granny, once again, being the best. Get ready for a brutal battle, a melodious melee, a classical clash, a rock and roll brawl. All this and more on this week's Dandadan. But first, welcome friends. I'm Merlin with a Y, a certain famous wizard's less talented but more attractive cousin. And I want to talk about the music room portrait fight, what it did well, what it didn't, and how I think I might have overhyped it in my last video. I didn't say much about it, but I clearly had high expectations. So starting things off, after Turbo Granny forced Okarun and Ira into a life-or-death fight for training, as you do, the trio gets transported to a paddy field for the first part of the fight. The fight is split into two locations, which I find cool, like the stages in a boss fight, even has boss music. The first half of the fight is basically a bullet hell game. Okarun and Ira have to dodge the hundreds of projectile music notes in an area where their feet will sink if they aren't careful. It's honestly the perfect fight to train Okarun to better utilize his speed. You gotta learn to dodge fast, or you'll quickly be stun-locked and blown up. And I love that. While the composer spirits are not that strong on their own, or at close range, when playing together, blasting at a distance, they really punish each mistake Okarun makes, and shows off just how well Ira does in comparison. Probably coming from how Silky was a dancer in her old life, it carries over to her power as a spirit, and therefore to Ira. Overall, it's a well-constructed fight that's perfectly catered to make Turbo Granny's lesson on tempo hit home. And in the manga, this was the fight. This wasn't the most hyped fight, or the most badass, but for me, if there's one thing this fight had, it was potential. Ever since I saw the Turbo Granny fight in episode 4, seeing Science Saru elevate the source material to a whole new level, my first thought was, I can't wait to see the piano room fight. I was so hyped at the thought of Science Saru cooking with this fight. Seeing Okarun tap into his inner metalhead and overpower the classical music sent to kill him. But we didn't really get that. The first part of the fight didn't feel like the intense clash of classical music versus metal that I was picturing in the manga. I was expecting the orchestra to have stronger or more powerful music, but in this, it barely feels like they're playing at all. It's so calm. It doesn't feel like fight music. And it makes Okarun's moment where he feels and uses the rhythm of the exorcism song to fight the orchestra even less impactful. And it was already less powerful since the metal music only really lasted for about a minute. This was far from the Battle of the Bands I thought it'd be. I guess I just wish the moment with the metal music lasted longer, and that they'd bring it back in the second half to make the climax that much stronger. It was only in the second phase, when they're pulled into a giant orchestra and they pull out Beethoven's Symphony No. 9, Ode to Joy, that it starts to feel hype. When the music really starts to get going and the action ramps up, that's when it starts to feel like what I was expecting. Okarun is a beast, showing his newfound maneuverability and power. And Ira? She's honestly the MVP of the fight, taking out the giants on her own with no power-up. Ira's still at the same level of strength she was at when she first got her powers. She hasn't grown. So all this was just her, really giving credence to the idea that she might be the leader. I will say, I'm disappointed that in the anime, Ira pictured Okarun in the group when she got hit right before she locked in. But in the manga, it was Momo getting choked by the evil eye. I feel like that held more meaning for her character, and cheapened the moment a little bit. Overall, the fight was still a bit disappointing for me. I was hoping for a back and forth, the classical music and metal battling for supremacy, blending together in a chaotic and dynamic fight scene, with Okarun powering through the obstacles, and the more sure he gets, the more the metal music takes over. That's what I wanted. But I will admit that this was still a great fight scene. I just had my expectations a bit too high. Maybe they blew the budget with the first concert, as it was way more hype than it was in the manga. Or maybe they're saving that Science Saru magic for a certain other fight scene coming up. But after the fight, and they're back to the piano room, I love the moment of Ira getting praised by Okarun, and she's unable to just act cute the way she usually does. Instead, she's more genuine, and makes fun of Turbo Granny. I'm still a Momo x Okarun shipper all the way, but it's cute. But back to the rest of the group, with the Evil Eye's last showing, it's become clear that they must exorcise him, but that still breaks Gigi's heart. But here comes Okarun with that MC aura to save the day. Calling out the Evil Eye, he's ready to show him everything he's learned. Okarun is showing that even despite what happened, he's still Gigi's friend and he'll support him. That's a ride or die right there. And I gotta say, that transformation looks so clean! I know I overhyped the piano room fight last video, but something tells me the next episode's fight is gonna be pure peak. Get ready for some unmatched aura next time on Dandadan. Overall, this was an okay episode, but it was my own unreasonable expectations that made it less fun for me. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. I hope you'll check out some of my other videos. I'm sure you'll find something you'll like. I'm Merlin with a Y, and thank you for listening to this old man ramble.